Hello once again, everyone, and sorry for the long delay over the holidays. I've been extremely busy, but I'm hopefully going to be back to making regular content on a weekly basis moving forward. Fingers crossed, touch wood, all that normal stuff. So, to tide you over before we get back into our regular series, I wanted to do just some nice, simple cutting patterns in the regimental style. All these are going to be focused less on the lunge and much more on wrist activation, so let's talk about that really briefly. What makes a cut in the simplest form is just angling your blade to whatever particular direction you need to go, and then the motion of push. Now, when you get particularly adept at this, you're able to execute cuts quite quickly without moving your hands. So we don't need to sway and cut with the shoulder, we can just aim, push. Now along with this is the next part of it, which is the Molinet, as I've talked about before. Push, then as the sword's momentum makes it slip almost out of your hand, you let it turn and bring it back to center. Now for the rest of this, I'm going to do some clarification. There's nothing in the manuals that breaks it down like this. I like to break it down like this for my own clarification, and I'll be using that terminology. Don't worry about it too much. So, the way I like to define it is, there is an inside Molinet, which is where the sword turns along the inside of my arm, and an outside Molinet, where the sword turns along the outside of my arm. Pretty simple, doesn't really make much of a difference. The next thing is a quarter or full Molinet. So a quarter or half Molinet would be this, where I'm not coming all the way back to center, I'm coming into the line of a 2. So if I were doing, for example, a 1 cut, that's into the line of a 2, that's a quarter Molinet. Alternatively, if I were to do a full Molinet, that comes back into the line of a 1, going all the way around. This will matter as I explain how these patterns work. So, first, easiest on the chopping block is going to be Raworth's 6 cutting pattern, which works like you saw. I'm going to show it from the front first. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, done. And the idea behind this is that my cuts are firm and my hand is not moving all that much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, done. Here's from the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, done. Now the idea is that the cuts all happen on the nice same tempo because it's that squeeze. So I want, rather than swoosh, 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 I want squeeze, 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 because in between I'm using the momentum to just angle for the next shot. Now if you want to, you can also add a 7 to this, and I usually like to, so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you're back into 1. Here's that from the front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you're back into 1. So, nice straightforward, kind of does the main cuts, gets everything in your head. And the nice thing is also it's in order, so all the cuts are named as you are doing them. Now, next we're going to do highs. So I'm going to go from 7 to 1 to 2. The idea here is that I go 7, I turn and do a full Molinet to 1, then I turn and do a quarter Molinet to 2, and I'm back to the middle. So, 7, 1, 2, back to middle. 7, 1, 2, back to middle. Here's from the side. 7, 1, 2, back to middle. 7, 1, 2, back to middle. And again, you're taking that time to re-aim, then power it forward. The reason I like this one so much is it's a bit unorthodox, and that'll be even more apparent in the next pattern. So now, I'll do the same idea, but we're going to go 2, 7, 1. And this is my particular favorite. So, 2, 7, 1, and you're back into the 2. The reason I like this so much is because it's very unorthodox. I'll explain in a moment. So, 2, 7, 1, 2, 7, 1, 2, 7, 1. Here's from the side. 2, 7, 1, 2, 7, 1. Now why is this so unorthodox? Because it goes the way you don't expect. You do a 2, you're expecting a 1 to return, but we go all the way to the 7. You do a 7, you expect a 2, but instead you come around for the 1. You do a 1, that's the only predictable one that comes back with a 2. So, nice and straightforward, and you can even combo these together where you do one pattern than the other, but that's the idea of going highs. Now we'll do lows. Now for lows, It's pretty easy to do a 3 and a 4 and a 4 and a 3 back and forth because, 3, 4, alternatively 4, 3, nothing really to write home about. So instead, I like to double stack, or rather double stab. The idea being I'm going to do 2 on each side, so 3, 3, 4, 4. Now the big thing about this is your hand is going to want to raise. So as you do this, you'll want to go up, up, and now my hand is up here. That's not very useful. So instead I want to use that momentum to keep my hand nice and light on both counts and give it its adequate time to travel. If you grip, your shoulder and your elbow want to get involved, and then you're making your cut shorter and less powerful. If you take the appropriate time to let it travel all the way, you'll get good cuts, good travel time, and your wrist will be loose and supple. So here's that again. 3, 3, 4, 4. Alternatively, 4, 4, 3, 3. Nice and straightforward. Now, next bit is we're going to go all around. We're going to do odds, then evens, then evens, then odds. This is one of my personal favorite patterns. So first, let's show the whole pattern, and then we'll break it down. Whole pattern would be 1, 5, 3, 7, 2, 6, 4, 7, and you're back into the 1. Here's how you break that down. Let's first start with the odds. Shift the hand, 1, turn it around, aim, 5, bring it around, aim, 3, bringing it all the way, and you're back into the 7. The biggest thing about this on the inside line especially is you'll kind of want to move your hand. You want it to start turning into this nonsense. You don't want that. Each cut happens on the same beat. The cut itself is very sharp. The preparation takes a little bit longer. So 1, 5, 3. You can kind of almost count between them. So 1 beat, 2 beat, beat, 3 beat, beat, right? Nice and straightforward. Now the 7 just sets you back to the top. That'll be an inside Molinet if you want. So boom, well, boom, boom, turn over. Now from here you turn over into the 2. This is the easier side. 2, 6, 4, 7. Nice and straightforward. So now all you got to do is combo them all together. So 1, 5, 3, 7, 2, 6, 4, 7. Show that from the side, and then we'll reverse it. 1, 5, 3, 7, 2, 6, 4, 7. Now to reverse it, I just start the pattern the other way. 2, 6, 4, 7, 1, 5, 3, 7. The only thing to really pay attention on this one in particular is because when you get to the 3, your arm is going to be a little more tired. Make sure you give it its adequate time so it gets properly around. And as well, pay close attention because the 4 into the 7 into the 1 is the big long one. So just to show that real quick, 4, 7, 1. He comes around that head, and if you're not paying attention, you can wick yourself. So pay close attention. Now, those are all great patterns. I love them a lot. Wrist is nice and supple. What if you want just a tiny bit more? Okay, so we'll give a tiny bit more. And this is something we don't normally do with regimental stuff, at least not it's emphasized. And that's the idea of going short, long, and long, short. We're only going to do this on our dominant side. Not that you can't do it on your non-dominant side. I will talk about that kind of thing another time. But for now, all it is in the manner of a 1. I'm going to go pushing my tip forward, but I let my pommel go to the outside of my body. Boom. So at the short edge, comes across on the 1 line. I turn my hand over, 1. And it's really the difference just between relaxed, engaged. Here's that again. Short, long. And use Molinet back to the beginning. Short, long. Short, long. Make sense? Alternatively, if you want to be more special, you can do long, short. Long, short. Long, short. And you just Molinet it back to the inside. Long, short, long, short. And that's a very good motion to get used to popping into a hanging guard again in an unorthodox way without moving your hand. Now, final bit we'll do down below. First, short, long, the easy one. In the manner of an inside, 3, short. 3, short. Well, that's actually more complicated too, but that doesn't matter, right? 3, short. So my hand barely moves. 3, short. Also very good for getting back to an outside guard very quickly. Alternatively, you do short, long, the actual easier of the two, which would be the idea of I just drop my hand, short, 3. Short, long. Short, long. Really good for a quick little manchette, followed by an actual 3 to cover your head. So, some nice simple patterns for you to go over, and all of these, like I said, you could add lunges and stuff to them, but they're really just about getting used to that extension and relaxation as it comes back around, and taking time to aim. Because that's the really big thing about this, is your disengage is not part of your cut. I did a whole video on it. We want to make sure it's not swoosh, swoosh, right? That's an ugly one. We want to make your swoosh, aim. There we go. Now we're getting 2 nice cuts. And this will give you nice, meaty, beefy forearms, and that's what everyone wants, really. So, like I said, I will be doing my best to make regular content again. Please be patient. I'm doing my best. But otherwise, thank you very, very much for watching. We will go over some other techniques another time.